Scorptech loaned us one of their PCs to play around with, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to take a deeper dive and see how good this PC actually is. For those of you who don't know Scorptech, they are an Australian reseller of PC hardware and a bunch of other tech products and have been at it for over 20 years. The PC came with two boxes. The main box containing the PC and the power supply box, which housed all of our accessories such as the fan, the power cables and much more. The build came inside the NZXT H7 Elite box with the original case packaging, foam and some extra bubble wrap around the case. There were also a few extra cardboard bits shoved down the sides to give it a little extra protection during shipping. Inside the case they used Instapak expandable foam, which looks to have done a fantastic job at keeping everything safe during shipping. My first observations were very impressive. The build looks really clean, sleeved cables used, which gives it a more premium feel, and I love that Scorptech have actually chosen a case that has front USB Type-C to take advantage of that motherboard feature. Speaking of motherboard, this is the MSI Z790 Carbon Wi-Fi. It has loads of USB, USB-C, and even Wi-Fi 6E. Considering extensions were used, we were greeted with some fantastic cable management at the back. The 600 watt GPU cable was not overly bent and it was seated and clipped in the full way. So let's go into Windows. Right away I noticed everything was up to date and drivers were fully installed. Making our way through the NZXT Cam software, fans have been set to performance fan curve so they pick up speed as the CPU temperature hits 50 degrees Celsius. The pump on the CPU liquid cooler has been set to 100% at all times. Restarting the system and diving into the BIOS, we were delighted to find that Scorptech are enabling XMP. Users are actually getting the performance that they paid for out of their RAM. After all, most people who buy pre-builds probably don't even know how to enable XMP. On to the thermals. This system contains a 13900K cooled by an NZXT 360mm all-in-one liquid CPU cooler. The graphics card is the MSI RTX 4090 Ventus 3X, which is MSI's lower end model, however it still packs some serious performance, which we'll test later on. Now my worries with the NZXT H7 Elite is the front glass panel. The back of the case and the bottom still has a little bit of ventilation room, however it is severely reduced due to the full front glass panel. To test our CPU, let's run it through some games to test for some real world temperature performance. As most people who buy a pre-built gaming PC will most likely be gaming. Then we'll test it in Cinebench to see how hot we can actually get it. After running some games for 30 minutes to allow for the CPU cooler to reach equilibrium, we ran some Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Our max temperature peaked at 76 degrees Celsius on the hottest core, with 16 of the cores sitting at high 50s and the remaining 8 sitting at high 60s to low 70s. Our Cinebench test was a little bit different. Temperatures were hitting 100 degrees and high 90s on some cores, which caused thermal throttling. The CPU never operated above 5.4 GHz. Keep in mind this is worst case scenario. Our gaming results never saw the CPU thermal throttle because it was not pushing the CPU as hard. To test our GPU, again I ran the system through some Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The GPU hit a maximum of 63.6 degrees Celsius with 64 degrees on the GPU memory. Unigen's superposition was a great way for us to stress the GPU to check the temperatures. We ended up achieving 68 degrees on the GPU and 66 degrees on the GPU memory. Furmark was also one of those tests that pushes the GPU to its max, which achieved 71 degrees at flatline after a few minutes. Now to test the PC's performance. We are equipped with an MSI RTX 4090 Ventus 3X paired with the Intel Core i9 13900K CPU. So I will be testing both 1440p and 4K. Again, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 being a very popular game, we wanted to make sure we tested its performance. 1440p ultra settings we observed primarily between 180 to 200 FPS. 4K ultra settings we're observing between 120 to 140 FPS with the occasional spikes and dips beyond those numbers. I wanted to get some ray tracing and DLSS performance, so we ended up loading up Cyberpunk 2077. 1440p ultra settings I observed around 115 to 120 FPS. I switched on ray tracing and DLSS to ultra and we saw a drop in FPS to around 95 to 105 FPS. 4K ultra settings is where things started getting interesting. we saw around 70 to 80 FPS on average. Once we enabled ray tracing in DLSS, the game seemed to scale better than the 1440p results, and we saw DLSS ray tracing results beat out standard ultra settings. We observed 90 to 100 FPS with these features enabled. With such high-end specs, I wanted to see how well this PC prices compared to if I was to buy and build this system myself. This is the Scorptech Elite RTX 4090 gaming PC, currently priced at $6,999 Australian dollars. Keep in mind, Scorptech also usually charge a $199 build fee and $49 optional software installation fee. I went ahead and created a cart full of identical specs. The only item not in stock was the GPU, so I added in another MSI GPU, $400 dearer. So we'll remove that $400 from the total. As you can see, coming in at $7,273, this system is way cheaper for me to have it built by Scorptech than build it myself. I did also want to validate Scorptech's pricing on hardware, and prices landed within $100 on 2 other competitors' websites. Keep in mind, this PC also includes 2 years of return to base warranty, plus the individual component warranty. I'm extremely happy with the build quality, the performance, and the pricing of this system. The old saying is it's usually cheaper to buy the components yourself and build it yourself. However, this is not the case. With the market how it is, hardware such as graphics cards higher than ever, it's actually incredible seeing a pre-built PC not only coming in $274 cheaper than if I were to build it myself, but the cost of them building the system and installing all of the software is also $250 worth of value included. So guys, if you want to check out this system further, I'll leave a link down below.